I'm going to extend some of the navigation features for our application. We already have one navigation feature added, which is the add icon here, which takes us to the page that we've been working with in the last video. So that's very good. It takes us forward from one page to another. And we don't want anything other than to see this page so that we can put data in each one of these fields. But what we want to achieve is that when this item is clicked, this content item here, inquiry customer, that we want to be able to be taken to the edit inquiry page and bring the data with us. So that's what we're going to achieve by changing the structure that we've got here. So what we need to alter is in this item here, we need to put an href that's going to take us to the edit page, but give it some parameters to work with. And the one we're going to work with is related to the customer that we want, the inquiry that we want to look at. So I've got it on my clipboard and I'm going to put it in here and go through it bit by bit. This is more complicated. Around the href, we have to put a square bracket because we're no longer dealing with just a literal. This edit string is just a literal. That's the edit page, it's the route we gave it. But now what we've done is that we want to add the inquiry ID relating to the customer, or sorry, the inquiry that we're working with. Route to direction forward is fine. And we need to make sure that it goes to the right page, and that's exactly how we achieve that. This structure of this string is really particular, and you have to get the syntax exactly correct or it won't work. The concatenation that we've just done by joining this word to this data item is reflecting what we did in our routing. We've got the edit and the ID, which is the number. So that's really important that you understand why we've done that. It's very straightforward, is that we're saying we need to join the word edit, which is the page name, and give it the ID, which links it to the particular ID that we are using. So it's important that we actually check that this works. It won't do anything useful yet, but we need to make sure that this href that we've created works the same way as we did with this one. We haven't implemented what happens when data is supplied, but we have to check that the navigation itself works. So back on the home page, I've saved and compiled. If I do that, we see the customer page. Go back. If I now click the data item, which is inquiry.customer, it takes us to the same page. Still an empty page, but we're getting that href to work. So that's really effective. So go to the edit inquiry page.ts and we'll work with the code inside here. So in order to make sure that we get the ID, you'll see that we need to use the ng on init so that when this page is initiated, it will get any IDs that exist in the route that's being used. So in order to get at this functionality, we need to import a feature of Angular, which is going to be very straightforward once you understand it. It's called activated route, or route. We're English, for God's sake. We're British. We're British. And it's going to be from at Angular input activated route from angular.router. Now we've got this, we can work with it now, and the way in which we're going to work with it is create a local instance of it inside the constructor. So here's the constructor, and we're going to make it a private object, and it's going to be excuse me, it's going to be called R-O-U-T-E, route, and it's going to be of type activated route. So we've now got a route imported from Angular, and we can work with that route. We can use the route, which already, as you know, holds the ID that we've got going forward from the path that we did in here. We know it contains an ID. We can start to grab that out to get the data that's relevant. So back in the edit inquiry page, so we're going to use this ng on init, and we're simply going to put a local variable, which we're going to call let id is the name of our variable, equals this dot root dot, and in CellAscends will let us know what we can do with it. So snapshot dot param map, because the root can contain a range of parameters that could be brought forward. There could be more than one thing you're bringing forward. Dot get, and we're going to get the ID from the root. So we are taking, this is it just moaning about the fact I should use const not let. It's an update in JavaScript, TypeScript. So we just need to make sure what we're going to get. Remember that the data we're working with at the moment has this data, and that's the only data we've got just now. And the ID is going to be 123. So that's what we're hoping to grab when we click the name. It should grab 123. And what we can do with that is we can make sure that we can try and check whether that's working by doing a console log. ID. So we should see 123 appear in the developer tools in the console at the bottom. So let's just start our developer tools. So we got it right. So let's just test it. So I've saved everything, I've recompiled, I've refreshed my browser, and what I'm hoping to see is that when I click Mariam, I'll get Mariam's ID, which is 123. So let's just check whether that works. Mariam, and there in my console, I'm getting 123. We now have the key into all of the information that we need in order to make our application take the data forward from the data service and put it into our edit inquiry page. So the next thing we have to do is to fully implement our inquiry, well, partially fully implement our inquiry service so that it can get an inquiry using the ID that we now know we can work with. That's what we'll do next.